Hey Capricorn, how's it going? We are here with your reading, what you need to know for January. The first cards that we have out are Six of Cups and the World. And we also have King of Pentacles. Okay. With Six of Cups in the World, it can indicate an important lesson that's being learned or completed at the beginning of January. This can be about emotional reciprocity. It can also be something connected with your relationships. It can be connected with things emotionally. This can even be something that you've been going through for quite some time that now you are completing. This can be something that helps you move through life a bit easier. Yeah, more easily. Now that you have this under your belt. I even feel like a position that this appoints you. All right. Okay, I'm seeing King of Pentacles and I'm also seeing Five of Pentacles, which can put you in some type of position that actually feels kind of... It's a position that you can be in where you feel like you have to do something. You can feel like you don't necessarily have the means to do that. That can be the thought anyway, or it can be the concern, it can be the worry. I am seeing those Six of Pentacles, so it looks like things shake out to be all right. Okay, let's see what the advice is for this. To use an example for King of Pentacles and Five of Pentacles, this can be like King of Pentacles, let's say that you're a painter, okay, and you need to paint a picture and you need the color red within it. Five of Pentacles can be that you need that red paint, but you don't have it. And so there's something that's needed that needs to be acquired, but you can look around and like every store that you go to, you're not finding the red paint. And so there can be sort of a problem like that, that feels like there's something that I need that I don't have, and then a concern about that. Just that though, it's not saying that things aren't going to be resolved. It just shows there being something going on that can feel kind of like a tricky situation that you find yourself in. I do want to get the advice for the Five of Pentacles, or just anything that would be helpful here in this instance to help you move through this. Anything about the Five of Pentacles? It's going to get worked out. Move through it knowing that it's going to get worked out, okay? I'm seeing Four of Wands and I'm seeing... This feels like it's something that can definitely throw you off, but then I'm seeing that things come and that balance is definitely restored here. And things do end up working out. Yeah. So you can have this feeling of, in order to get the job done, I need this thing. It's like not readily available. There's going to be like a little bit of a thing that happens because of that, but then I'm seeing everything work out in this situation. Okay. But it can be something that concerns you for a little bit. I feel like this is part of a bigger theme that you've been working through. Because I'm definitely seeing a path here that you've been working on. It even seems like a new chapter is developing. This is going to be a very big new chapter that's starting. I want to pull 10 more cards and then we'll get into the details of this. Interesting. When this happens, this thing about I need something and I don't have it, and then what unfolds because of that, or a concern about when the time comes when you definitely need something, it not being there, even though who's to say that that ends up actually happening. It feels more so like a concern or an awareness of what could possibly be. But again, then things end up working out for you. I do get the sense that when this happens, it can feel triggering to a part of you that comes up that may feel more difficult to work with at times. I don't want to say unmanageable, but it can definitely bring up some stuff for you where then you have to work with yourself through that. But then I'm seeing you come out of it. Stuff about what you need to function properly. Just what you need, the basis of that, this being reviewed. I feel, though, that you've gotten pretty good at working through times that do feel stressful. Like, you've learned how to manage times that can really throw you off. I'm hearing adjunct. You have learned how to work through times that can feel stressful, that can feel like there's a lot being thrown at you, a lot of unknown things that you have to figure your way through. It's not to say it's easy, but it is to say that you can move through this, and to maybe remind yourself of that you've worked through situations like this before, you've come out on the other side. It's nothing that you're not going to be able to move through. I do get some type of concern about whether or not something is going to be enough moving forward. Okay. It does look like an important conversation being had about... I have been seeing the Eight of Cups in a lot of readings, and when Eight of Cups comes up, it's a review of whether or not you want to stay within something. Are you getting what you need? Are you not? Are you staying within something you do not like? Or are you moving away from something? Are you looking for something else? Do you feel satisfied? Do you feel like it's sort of providing you with what you need, or no? Do you feel happy? Do you not? Is enough enough? Okay, last one. Oh, who is this reminding me of? There was another reading that I did that felt like we left on some undecided note, that I knew something was going to be carrying into maybe Libra. That's what's coming to mind. For those of you that have Libra placements, I feel something happening within the theme of you working through something in the month of January that is going to carry over into the month of February, and it feels like there's a choice that's associated with that about what you're going to do here. And it can be too about like what is enough and what makes sense for you. It feels like a continuation of what you've been doing. I'm seeing you working through something, and it feels like it's about stability within your life. It can be about security and a matter of being flexible and bending, but not to the point of breaking. So it's knowing, when do I need to be flexible? When am I being stubborn versus when do I need to sort of stand here and hold it together a bit? What I'm seeing is that you're in the process of working on a path that is very much connected with reciprocity, I think, in all that you do. So this is wanting to make sure that wherever it is that you're showing up, because you know that when you show up, there is quality that you provide. You want to make sure that that is being matched so that this is something that you can give sustainably, rather being within something that does not sort of match as far as reciprocity, and then you feel like you can't continue to do something because it's not sustainable. In the simplest of ways. I do feel like there's big life stuff that this is connected with. This can have to do with home, family, work, responsibilities, commitments, roles that you play. King of Pentacles, I'm seeing play a big part in this. This is also something that it's going to test you mentally or challenge you mentally to be doing problem solving in kind of a difficult situation, to be doing that problem solving, but knowing that when you find the solution, you're going to strike gold, and that's going to be what would be wanted given the situation that you're in. And I think also not holding back or holding off anymore, because what may have been happening before was that there could have been things that you were settling for that really weren't meeting the mark for you. And now this feels like turning that around. And there's could have been something that was, if there was a fear mentality or something that you were doing to avoid something just because of it being stressful, difficult, being like, how is this possibly going to be figured out, or like wanting to avoid some type of conflict, it feels like moving past that, moving through that. Because maybe with the Eight of Cups, there's something that you were sort of continuously standing within somewhere where you didn't necessarily want to be, or it just felt repeatedly like it wasn't enough. And until the Seven of Swords reverses, you could have been like going back in again and again and again, and it's like still not working, still not enough, and you just needed to leave. Having that Seven of Swords reversing, you may finally be liberating yourself, like letting yourself move through this, rather than staying somewhere you don't belong, rather than continuing to entertain something that you don't want to be within, or that isn't enough for you, because that's also important too. And this can be a very big lesson that's being learned here. Like this can be a repeated lesson that you find yourself in, having to do with emotional reciprocity and needing to bring those things to the forefront. The reason why these things can feel so tricky to work within is because I think in external ways, when we talk about reciprocity, it's easier to tell. Like if you have a way of physically putting something on a scale, you can see what equates to what. But when it comes to internal stuff, you're basically the one having to navigate through that. Is this enough? Is it not enough? Can I deal with this? Like, what is this feeling like to me? And because of being in that position with yourself, it can be more difficult, I think, to measure things on an internal level. What this feels like, though, is that something here is being accomplished. So there can be a real sort of reality check that is setting in, where you are being so real with yourself and self-aware and honest with yourself about what feels emotionally and spiritually and energetically sustainable to you versus what does not. What works versus what does not. What leaves you feeling satisfied and like you are nourished, your energy and your emotions and your creativity and your soul, versus what feels like it is bleeding you out here on an internal level. And this is not a new concept to you at all. This is something you've been working on. And it feels like this is sort of a new chapter that's starting, where I feel like there's an intersection of some chapters actually, and that's something important that's taking place here. If you've been going through something where you've been working through something on more of an internal level, I feel like things come to light in a very bright and obvious way beginning into like maybe mid-month, and it can leave you with a choice by the end of the month that you feel like you need to make. And it can also be something that you feel some concern about or anxiety about, just because of the ambiguity of what could possibly be happening, and like, what does that mean then if I make this choice and it's leading me into somewhere unknown. What is that going to be? So I think it can sort of get you on that track a bit. I am seeing the High Priestess on the bottom of the deck, so seeing the High Priestess being the theme for you throughout the month, I'd say that there's a lot of checking in that you're going to be doing, a lot of tuning in, a lot of things that reinforce your intuition and your connection with self, signs from the universe, reading into the situations that you're in to make sure that you're not missing anything, taking time to really reflect and analyze, self-awareness, tuning in, honest self-assessment and reflection, how you're feeling given the circumstances that you're in, how you feel before situations, how you feel during situations, how you feel after situations. It's going to be a lot of that, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what's going on, what's happening in your internal universe as it relates to what you're sort of playing within more externally. And getting the balance right and getting the rhythm right. So there can be a lot of stuff that comes up about like relationships and emotions, and something very concrete that's being learned here. Also too, this feeling of, I think at times not being enough. You know, King of Pentacles and Five of Pentacles is feeling to me like maybe there are situations that you're in where like you're really showing up and doing a great, fantastic job, and there may not be support for what it is that you're doing. Even if this is like, this doesn't have to just be in work situations. This can be, you may be playing a role for maybe a certain person even, and then feeling like it's not sustainable. Like there's something going on here that feels like there's a lack of reciprocity. Like you're showing up and you're keeping your word, or you're doing a quality job. And that Five of Pentacles can feel like you're not really getting what you need there. So, and this can be anywhere where you're showing up and giving something, and you know that you're doing it at like the like highest standard, and that there's not really, you're not being supported within that, or the environment is not supportive enough. It's not giving you enough back for you to be able to keep doing that. It feels like things that you're paying out of pocket for, and this being addressed. Because King of Pentacles, I feel like, shows you in a light where you're doing things like very perfectly. This doesn't really need to be changed. It doesn't really need to be assessed, but there's something about the environment that needs to be shifted because something is not working, something is not sustainable, and so there's going to be a change that's needed there. Otherwise, you're going to continue to be shortchanged. And that this is part of an agenda that you've been working on for more reciprocity within your life. And so these themes, it feels like, are sort of coming to the forefront now. I am seeing a new chapter that you're getting started. This is a path that you're on that you want to be on. It's now materializing. This looks like it becomes more concrete, like somewhere between first and second week of January. And then I'm also seeing too that if you had been having these inklings and these feelings about like wanting to leave something, but feeling like things kept getting in the way, and I mean it more so as if there's been something within you, like your life force saying, I want to explore, there's something more that I want to be experiencing, like this isn't doing it for me, but something kept pulling you back in. Regardless of what it was, something was influencing you to maybe like go against that within yourself. This feels like it's becoming obliterated, whatever that force was, and that it's not holding that influence over you anymore. And even though this can feel like a little bit of shell shock here, I think because of what this means for you and you being freed of that and liberated of that and not knowing what's going to happen then, it feels like you're not chained anymore. And this feels like it's going to free you up to do some exploring that may feel a little bit, it feels like stepping up to something that feels very big and sort of unknown, and that feeling of, the closest word that I can think of is intimidation. It can feel slightly like that, but also there being excitement and there being like a sense of self-trust within that. It feels like that, stepping into something. I don't think intimidation is like really the most accurate word, but that's all that's coming to mind. It's like standing in front of something like an oasis, like something that feels very big, like all of those feelings that you feel at the beginning of stepping into an adventure. I'm seeing something like that that's going to be coming up And you can know that there's nothing holding you back from that anymore. And so all of the feelings, I think, that come with that, of you being liberated and free to explore, it feels like the part of you that's ready to be on the move is coming back into play now. That part of you is being activated, which once you embrace will feel part of your nature. I'm seeing what you're doing end up working. I'm also seeing some stuff that you're working through on a mental level, that you're figuring out where to place your energy, what to do, what's the right move for you to be making. It does feel like it's associated with this. Am I going to let myself explore, or am I going to be staying here? What to do? Do I want to get in the car and go? Do I want to go on that adventure? It's like you hear the horn of the train. What is it? Whatever blows when the train is saying like it's about to sort of set off on the tracks, and you have the choice to either stay where you are, or you can get on it and you can go and see where that takes you. But there definitely can be a feeling of maybe feeling kind of pensive. That Five of Pentacles can be a feeling of like, I don't really have a lot of stuff in my knapsack, but I don't really want to stay here, and I want to go, and am I going to let myself, but then what's going to happen? And there's a part of me that like wants a sense of security, but I'm not necessarily feeling it here, but like, will I find it there? And it's going to be this whole thing that's going on. And there's all opening up to chance, to opportunity, to flexibility, and allowing yourself to make a choice that you want to be making. And navigating through this, assessing your investments, assessing the right choices for you on a mental level, the emotional and intuitive component that helps you with decision making from a very divinely wise place within you. Practical steps, motivation. In a way, I kind of feel like January will feel sort of like a mosaic to you. And I think that the bigger picture is going to come into play more so in February. I feel like in January, there are a lot of different things that you have going on, and it may feel like sort of random, these things that come up for you to address, but the bigger picture is going to start making sense as you get further through this. Like, all of this is connected. It may feel more loosely connected initially, but then I'm seeing the big picture come into focus. At the last part of January, depending on how quickly or slowly you move through this, there can be a choice of whether or not you're going to keep something or release it. And it can be something that's been around. And there can also be something here about flexibility and about releasing control and trusting, like maybe something of a free fall here. What you have, what you want, staying where you are, exploring new chapter. Choices, decisions, figuring out what to do. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.